artists. So first we're going to talk about posture in this laying down position so we can take some of the variables out and look at the principles. So we're going to look at aligning the pelvis, the ribs, and the head. And I'll have you place your hands with the meaty part of your hand right over the bony part of your pelvis, and then the middle fingers right over the pubic bone. And so the first thing we're doing is that we're trying to get those two structures on the same plane, so the pubic bone and the two bony parts of the pelvis. Next, we bring the hands up to the ribs, and we exhale here to relax the ribs into position, and then use a little bit of core activation here to keep the ribs down. Next, all we have to do is, with the ribs down, tuck the chin slightly so that then the pelvis, the core activation, the ribs, and the head are all in alignment. And next we'll see what that looks like when we're seated. Okay, artists, so here we're talking about posture in a seated position. So we're going to take the principles that we learned laying face up and apply them in a seated position. So we first take our hands into that triangle so that we have the pointy parts on the meaty part of our palm and our middle finger at our pubic bone, and we try to bring those into the same plane of alignment. That will automatically shift your pelvis into a good position. You see that already that changes a lot of the rest of the posture. So posture in a seated position has a lot to do with where the pelvis is. Once we have that in position, then we come here up to the ribs. We have her take a deep breath in and exhale to connect, and then use a little bit of core activation to engage them in that position. And then I have her bring her chin back so that she is in good posture. And now we'll take a look at what this looks like standing. Artists, we're continuing with the posture series. And so here we're applying what we learned face up and seated and taking it to standing. So the first thing we do is place the meaty part of our hands over the bony parts of our pelvis, and the fingers right over the pubic bone. And we make sure that those end up on the same plane so that the pubic bone is on the same plane as the bony parts of the hip. The next thing we do is we place our hands at the ribs. We take a deep breath in, and as we exhale, we align the ribs to the pelvis and use a little bit of muscle activation to keep the ribs in place. The last part of that puzzle is to keep the ribs in place and push the head slightly back towards my hand and up the wall so that then her head is in alignment as well. And this way we get the pelvis, the upper back, the ribs, and the head all in one plane.